Caitlyn Clark is about to blindside the WNBA with ratings so colossal, so utterly undeniable, they'll be left reeling, questioning every single decision that led them to this moment. Her long-awaited, highly anticipated, and now officially dropped Dude Perfect collaboration has absolutely exploded across the digital landscape, setting the internet ablaze. The timing, for her ever-growing legion of devoted fans, couldn't be more serendipitous, more perfectly aligned to celebrate her undeniable star power. Yet for her vocal detractors, for those who have consistently sought to diminish her impact, this unfolding phenomenon is proving to be nothing short of an unmitigated disaster, a brutally sharp and exquisitely painful dose of reality. While Clark, the unparalleled phenom, is sidelined with a temporary injury, a minor setback in what promises to be a legendary career, the WNBA's hard-won momentum is in a free fall, a dizzying descent from the peaks it briefly touched. Attendance figures are plummeting, the once feverish hype is dissipating like smoke, and any semblance of forward motion seems to have evaporated. But this video, this meticulously crafted collaboration, it's not just an entertaining watch. It's a masterclass in stark, unflinching contrast, already surging in views with an almost unbelievable velocity, and, with each passing second, solidifying what absolutely everyone with an ounce of objectivity already knows, but what the old guard, the entrenched establishment, and regrettably, much of the mainstream media stubbornly, even defiantly, refuse to admit. Caitlyn Clark is the WNBA. And perhaps, just perhaps, if they had possessed the foresight, the humility, the genuine desire to cultivate and welcome her unprecedented wave of fans from the very beginning, things might have unfolded in a dramatically different fashion. Because what transpires, what is undeniably laid bare during Caitlyn's temporary absence from the court, holds the potential to fundamentally rewrite the future trajectory of the WNBA, directly impacting how players are compensated, how collective bargaining agreements are structured, and how the league itself is perceived for decades to come. The financial implications, the cultural ramifications, are far, far bigger than they're willing to admit, bigger than they're prepared to confront. And this Dude Perfect video, beyond its sheer entertainment value, beyond its captivating display of athletic prowess, is about to rub a copious, stinging truckload of salt into an already raw, painfully exposed wound. The global internet first caught fire with an electrifying teaser released just a few short months ago, a tantalizing glimpse that set the stage for what was to come. In that brief, captivating clip, Tyler of Dude Perfect, with his signature blend of athleticism and theatrical flair, sank an absolutely ridiculous, seemingly impossible long-range bomb from the stands. And there, watching with an almost regal presence, was Caitlyn Clark, her reaction alone sending a palpable shockwave of excitement through a rapidly expanding fan base. That singular, short-form video snippet, a mere appetizer for the main course, absolutely exploded, racking up an astonishing 13 million views in a matter of mere days. The anticipation became a tangible, almost suffocating force as everyone, from casual sports enthusiasts to die-hard basketball purists, eagerly awaited the full reveal, desperate to see what gravity-defying feats Caitlyn herself would unleash in the complete video. And now, at long last, we know, this epic release, a carefully curated display of skill and showmanship, features more than 50 distinct types of three-pointers, each one a testament to Caitlyn's unparalleled precision and range. Her signature move, her undeniable bread and butter. But what truly elevates this collaboration beyond a simple exhibition of athleticism is its profound strategic importance. It's not just showcasing her insane skills. It's her grand, meticulously orchestrated introduction to a massive, previously untapped, and overwhelmingly receptive audience. Like literally everything else Caitlyn touches, from college viewership records to WNBA ticket sales, this collaboration is not merely big. It is absolutely monumental for the WNBA, representing a seismic shift in potential viewership and cultural relevance. Here's precisely why. Dude Perfect isn't just some popular YouTube channel that happens to dabble in sports content. They are unequivocally sports YouTube royalty, occupying an almost mythical status in the digital content creation sphere. Their empire is built on a foundation of meticulously executed trick shots, infectious camaraderie, and family-friendly humor, resonating with an incredibly diverse and loyal demographic. Their statistical dominance is staggering. With an astounding 18 billion views and an ever-growing subscriber count that now exceeds 60 million, they command a digital following that dwarfs, yes, dwarfs, the NBA's own official YouTube channel. Think about that for a moment. A group of friends performing elaborate stunts has a more expansive digital footprint than one of the most established professional sports leagues in the world. They are as mainstream as it gets, universally family-friendly, appealing to parents and children alike, and they're absolutely dominant among younger sports fans. Precisely the casual, yet potentially long-term, audience that the WNBA has for years been desperately trying to attract, often with limited success. And Caitlyn, as we've witnessed countless times, possesses an undeniable, almost magical ability to pull them in, to draw them into the world of women's basketball. Just look at the transformation of Fever Games. They're no longer niche sporting events, but genuine family outings, packed with parents and eager, wide-eyed kids, many of whom are undoubtedly there to witness the Caitlyn Clark phenomenon firsthand. So, when Caitlyn Clark makes a prominent appearance in a Dude Perfect video, it's not just a cameo. It's a direct, wide-open gateway to literally millions of new fans who might never, ever have even considered watching a WNBA game before, but are now suddenly captivated and willing to give it a shot, purely out of curiosity and connection to their favorite YouTube stars. And this, crucially, is fundamentally different from the fleeting impact of a Nike billboard or a quick State Farm commercial. This is long-form content, meticulously crafted narratives that allow for deeper immersion and connection, something Dude Perfect excels at with unparalleled mastery. It's their best-in-class approach, their dedication to authentic, engaging storytelling, that makes this collaboration so incredibly potent. No matter how colossal the star, how revered their status in traditional sports, Dude Perfect approaches them with an endearing, disarming authenticity, treating them not as untouchable icons, but as genuine friends. They laugh, they joke, they have unadulterated fun, and that infectious camaraderie, combined with the jaw-dropping, often bewildering, trick shots, is what truly makes their channel special, forging an almost personal bond with their audience. Their viewers aren't merely passive consumers of a fleeting commercial. They're actively participating in an experience, getting to know Caitlyn on a fun, relatable, and deeply personal level, building an emotional connection that even the most meticulously planned, high-budget 30-second advertisement could never hope to forge. This is connection on a profound level, fostering loyalty that transcends the typical fan-athlete dynamic. So when Caitlyn is out there, calmly and effortlessly sinking seemingly impossible shots, making the unfathomable look utterly routine, she's not just playing basketball. She's actively, dynamically expanding the game, cultivating a new generation of fans more powerfully and effectively than any traditional WNBA promotional campaign has ever managed. To truly grasp the sheer, awe-inspiring scale of this impact, just look at Dude Perfect's past collaborations with NBA giants. Their videos featuring Steph Curry and Luka Doncic haven't just performed well, they've absolutely shattered records, consistently garnering 15 to 20 million views and often far beyond. And that's just for the main, feature-length video itself, not even counting the endless stream of shorts, smaller clips, and reshares that further amplify their reach across social media platforms. These aren't merely YouTube videos anymore. They're foundational pillars of internet sports culture, woven into the very fabric of online fandom. Some, perhaps blinded by ingrained biases or a lack of understanding of digital trends, might stubbornly argue that a WNBA player, regardless of her unprecedented popularity, won't attract as many views as an NBA star. But I pose the question again with an even sharper edge. Are you genuinely sure about that? when the evidence so overwhelmingly suggests the contrary. Because the empirical data, the information has been reported like wildfire across every major sports news outlet, confirming what many already feared. Caitlyn Clark is, indeed, sidelined with a left quad strain. Normally, the absence of a star player for a few games wouldn't send shockwaves through an entire league. And to be fair, Caitlyn has already been observed casually draining threes in practice, a clear indication that she's rapidly on the mend, her recovery progressing smoothly. For her individual health and career, there's nothing truly to worry about. But for the league itself? Yeah, the WNBA is feeling the repercussions of her absence with an almost palpable intensity, grappling with a sudden and acute decline in interest that threatens to derail their carefully constructed narrative of growth. I can personally, unequivocally confirm the dramatic, almost instantaneous shift in interest for Fever games without Clark. Just a week ago, I purchased 4 tickets on StubHub, intending to take my sports-playing nieces to the Fever Mystics game in Baltimore, anticipating a vibrant, energetic atmosphere. Those exact tickets for the very same row are now available for less than half of what I initially paid. The plummet in ticket prices for Fever games was immediate, a visceral reaction the moment Caitlyn was officially ruled out, extending even to their highly anticipated rematch against the Chicago Sky, a game that had been meticulously relocated to a larger NBA arena specifically to accommodate the unprecedented demand her presence generated. This precipitous drop is a clear, undeniable signal, an unvarnished truth. Fans aren't showing up for the logo on the jersey, for the team, or for the league itself. They are showing up, unequivocally, for her. The data is stark. Ticket prices have fallen by more than 300% in less than 2 days. The highly anticipated Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever game, which just 48 hours ago saw tickets selling for $86, is now available for a mere $25. And by the time June 7th actually rolls around, it might genuinely cost you little more than a bag of Skittles and some Lay's potato chips to gain entry. These were tickets that were previously commanding hundreds of dollars on the secondary market, all because of Caitlyn's magnetic appeal. The Sky, sensing the unprecedented demand, even went as far as to move not 1, but 2 games to the United Center, the sprawling home of the NBA's Bulls, solely to accommodate the overwhelming fan interest that she created. And now, with her out, those prices have tanked, a devastating blow to the league's economic aspirations. This is a massive, flashing red flag, one that the WNBA simply cannot ignore. Because last year, Caitlyn Clark alone drove the WNBA's attendance boom, a staggering surge that injected unprecedented life into the league. And without her, that hard-won momentum is not just fading. It's disappearing as fast as it came, leaving behind a stark void. The Indiana Fever's attendance growth in the past year was an utterly astonishing 319%. While it's true that all other teams still registered double-digit percentage growth, a respectable feat in itself, it was nowhere, absolutely nowhere, near the monumental 319% surge that the Fever experienced. That staggering figure, that unprecedented leap, was Caitlyn Clark's doing, which means, unequivocally, that she is overwhelmingly responsible for the overall league attendance records, for the narrative of growth that the WNBA has so eagerly championed. And the situation for the league only grows more dire, because it's not just the box office, the physical attendance at games, that's taking a hit. They've now got a full-blown ratings crisis on their hands, one that threatens to undermine their entire bargaining position. Consider the Storm versus Wings game, a contest featuring 2 established WNBA teams. It garnered a mere 339,000 viewers, making it the most-watched WNBA game on NBA TV that did not involve Clark or the Indiana Fever. To put it bluntly, the WNBA has seen virtually no discernible growth when it comes to the non-Caitlyn Clark games. Games not featuring Caitlyn Clark continue to draw what can only be described as modest, or, to be more candid, deeply disappointing viewership numbers, clinging to the low hundreds of thousands. Meanwhile, Caitlyn's games are doing this. The Fever's game against the Liberty, for instance, scored a peak of nearly 3.3 million viewers, representing the highest peak of any WNBA game ever broadcast on CBS. And that monumental achievement came on the heels of the Sky Fever season opener, a game that drew an average of 2.7 million viewers, solidifying its place as the most-watched WNBA regular season game in a quarter century. Now that you are presented with this jarring, undeniable contrast, just imagine Caitlyn Clark, sidelined from playing, yet effortlessly pulling in 30 million views on Dude Perfect from an entirely new, fresh pool of fans, while concurrent WNBA games are struggling to attract numbers that feel eerily reminiscent of ESPN2 professional cornhole viewership. Okay, it's not that dire. Not yet, but still, by direct comparison, that's precisely what it feels like to an objective observer. And this stark, painful contrast isn't just a short-term blip for the WNBA, a temporary setback to be brushed aside. This profound disparity, even if it lasts for a mere 2 or 3 weeks, is going to fundamentally change everything for WNBA players, shifting the balance of power in a way they may not be prepared for. The players, emboldened by the perceived Caitlyn Clark effect, will find themselves utterly unable to sit down at a collective bargaining table and confidently declare, "We demand more because you're not giving us enough money." Because if Caitlyn Clark is the sole, the exclusive driver of your entire business model, then guess what? That business model is inherently unsustainable, not a foundation robust enough for significant CBA changes, and certainly not a platform for outlandish demands. The players, brimming with confidence earlier this year, had strategically opted out of the previous collective bargaining agreement, specifically to negotiate a new, more lucrative deal, one that they clearly intended to leverage from the anticipated Caitlyn Clark effect. They envisioned a tidal wave of ratings, packed arenas, and a deluge of sponsorship money pouring in, all stemming from her unprecedented popularity. And when they spoke publicly about their intentions, there was a discernible bravado, an almost defiant assertion of power. If y'all don't give us what we want, like we said, no, that's a possibility for real. There were widespread conversations, openly discussed, about a potential walkout, a strategic stoppage of play to force concessions. It's something that we're talking about internally to, be prepared for. Of course, no one wants that situation to happen, but I do feel like there's some topics that we have in mind that, we have to stand strong in what we believe in too. We have to stand up for what we feel is right and what we feel we deserve. And so, while we don't want that situation to happen, of course, I think we're prepared for any possibility right now. This was their stance just a few months ago. The players were riding high, convinced of their undeniable leverage. Caitlyn Clark had single-handedly skyrocketed every quantifiable growth metric, from viewership to merchandise sales, and they genuinely believed the power dynamic had finally shifted decisively in their favor. They were ready to play hardball, to demand significantly better pay, expanded benefits, and a whole host of perks that had previously been unattainable. It's almost as if they, and their most vocal fans, genuinely believed that Caitlyn's explosive impact was simply the natural, organic extension of growth that had already been steadily happening within the league. He isn't lying. Literally look up ratings just the last few years, record ratings. This, let's be absolutely clear, is a blatant, demonstrable lie. The ratings before Caitlyn's arrival were, frankly, putrid. A mere 450,000 people were tuning in for games featuring a 3-time MVP like Aya Wilson. But Caitlyn's injury, however temporary, has irrevocably changed everything. That perceived leverage, that carefully constructed illusion of power, is rapidly evaporating, dissolving into thin air with each passing game she misses. All the owners need to do, all the leverage they require, is to simply pose the chilling question, what if she gets injured again? We're not committing to this if she gets injured again, because if she gets injured again, it's over. You see, Caitlyn's not merely a needle mover, a catalyst for change. She is the entire needle, the singular, indispensable driving force behind the league's recent surge in relevance. And now that her staggering estimated value to the WNBA has been starkly, undeniably revealed, It's going to be exponentially harder for the players to strong-arm owners into accepting sky-high pay increases and lavish perks that simply aren't supported by the broader economic reality. The economic impact of Caitlyn Clark's presence is not just significant. It's earth-shattering, indicating that she could be worth billions of dollars to the WNBA as her star power reaches unforeseen, unprecedented levels. The same respected economist, Ryan Brewer, who accurately revealed that Caitlyn Clark was responsible for over a quarter of the WNBA's total economic activity in 2024, has just released his staggering 2025 projection. Brewer, a widely respected sports valuation expert whose analyses are meticulously scrutinized, now firmly believes that Clark's total impact on the league, encompassing everything from sponsorships to media rights, could comfortably top an astounding $1 billion this year alone. Let that number sink in. One athlete in a single season could account for $1 billion difference in the league's overall financial landscape. And there's absolutely no mincing words here. No room for ambiguity or misinterpretation. It's 100% her. Her singular appeal, her magnetic draw, her undeniable talent are the exclusive drivers of this economic miracle. So let's bring this back to the dramatic, unfolding narrative of the Dude Perfect collaboration. Caitlyn's out, sidelined from the court. In her absence, WNBA ratings are undeniably dipping, slipping back towards their pre-Clark levels. Ticket sales for Fever games are falling off a cliff, dropping precipitously. Fans are reportedly canceling long-planned trips to Indianapolis, flights booked and hotels reserved, specifically because Caitlyn Clark won't be playing, their enthusiasm evaporating the moment her absence was confirmed. And all of this cascade of negative indicators, comes right after an official investigation that, whether intended or not, painted Indiana fans in a decidedly negative light, casting a suspicious pall over their genuine enthusiasm for over a week, despite absolutely no evidence whatsoever being found to support any allegations. And now, at this precise moment, while casual fans are tuning out of live WNBA games, tens of millions, quite possibly more, are about to watch Caitlyn Clark on Dude Perfect, effortlessly racking up views that the WNBA, in its current state without her, could only ever dream of achieving. It's just more contrast, a sharper, more painful delineation of reality, more undeniable proof that Caitlyn isn't just the league's biggest star, the most popular player. She's the only one moving the needle, the solitary force driving the league's recent surge in public consciousness. And now, the owners, armed with this irrefutable data, have all the leverage in upcoming negotiations. And if viewership numbers plummet back to their worst, to their pre-Caitlyn Clark levels, and in the most devastating scenario, if the Indiana Fever itself, the team she almost single-handedly elevated, ends up being one of the lower-viewed teams in the WNBA in her absence, then the WNBA owners can literally, without a shred of doubt, confront the players. They can easily dismiss any perceived growth, any claim of improved average numbers, by simply stating, nope, we are not taking the average numbers. We are completely discounting Caitlyn Clark games. There's no coming back from this. No valid counterargument. The players will have no leg to stand on. Their previous bravado rendered utterly meaningless. A mere 4 to 6 games without Caitlyn will provide all the sample size owners need to push back, with overwhelming force, on any outrageous demands put forth by the players. And if you harbor any doubt that they will ruthlessly utilize this newfound leverage, just cast your mind back to what they've already demonstrably done. These are the very same owners who, with cold, calculating precision, only move their games against the Fever to spacious NBA arenas. Not for any other team, not for any other star, but solely for Caitlyn. The boldest, most unequivocal move came from the Chicago Sky, a franchise that didn't just move one game, but two, to the iconic United Center, the sprawling home of the NBA's Bulls. This decision, while financially shrewd, simultaneously sent a loud, clear, and arguably devastating message to the entire sports world. Angel Reese, despite her considerable social media following and passionate fan base, is unequivocally not the draw she claimed or was perceived to be. This league, like any entertainment enterprise, ultimately runs on entertainment value, on compelling narratives, on must-watch moments. And the networks, the broadcast partners who invest billions, know this with absolute certainty. That's precisely why they ordered an astounding 41 out of 44 Fever games for national broadcast, recognizing the singular appeal of Caitlyn Clark. But the old guard, the entrenched power brokers, they still don't seem to grasp this fundamental truth, or perhaps even worse, they stubbornly refuse to accept it, clinging to outdated paradigms. She's packing larger arenas now, arenas previously reserved for NBA giants. She's taking and making shots nobody's ever done in the history of the sport, redefining what's possible on the court. She is Steph Curry, the unparalleled, game-changing shooter of her generation. There's a profound, undeniable reason the NBA strategically places Steph Curry and his Warriors on Christmas Day. It's for maximum viewership, for cultural impact, for the sheer spectacle he embodies. And that brings us, inevitably, to the insidious, often unfair game of blame. But don't hold your breath expecting any genuine self-reflection from the league's upper echelons, from many of the players, or from large swathes of the media. They won't be looking inwards, engaging in critical introspection. Instead, they'll be looking outwards directly at you, the new fans, the very people whose engagement they claim to covet. There exists a segment of fans, almost a distinct subculture, who are simultaneously ardent followers of indie bands, fervent supporters of international soccer, and passionate enthusiasts of the WNBA. They possess a distinct, almost proprietorial, gatekeeping mentality, operating under the unspoken premise of "we'll tell you who's truly great, who's worthy of your attention." And while Caitlyn Clark fans are enthusiastically watching fun, viral clips of their favorite player, clips that effortlessly rack up tens of millions of views, instead of dutifully tuning into a WNBA game, you know what's coming next. They're going to get blamed. It'll be the same tired, worn-out narrative we've heard regurgitated over and over again. The new fans aren't real basketball fans. They're not true WNBA fans. They only care about one player. And here's the uncomfortable truth. To a significant degree, they're absolutely right. These are Caitlyn Clark fans first. Their loyalty forged by her individual brilliance and captivating persona. Once I found out Caitlyn wasn't playing, it didn't make sense for us to fly to Indianapolis. Of course not, said a fan named Kopecky in a phone interview, articulating a sentiment shared by many. We are Caitlyn fans before Fever fans. She's the biggest draw. That's who the girls want to see. But here's the crucial, often overlooked, and fundamentally important point. That's exactly how a league grows, how it expands its reach and secures its future. That's precisely how the NBA exploded into a global phenomenon in the 1980s and 1990s, riding on the broad, powerful backs of individual, charismatic stars. People didn't fall in love with the league as an abstract entity first. They fell in love with Magic Johnson's infectious smile and no-look passes, with Larry Bird's gritty determination and clutch shots, with Michael Jordan's superhuman athleticism and unyielding will to win. You build around the incandescent stars, the once-in-a-generation talents, and the fans, the new fans, will follow in their wake, drawn by the individual brilliance. And the players in today's WNBA, many of them, have been incredibly short-sighted, displaying a profound lack of vision. Instead of recognizing that Caitlyn Clark is not a threat but a rising tide, a powerful force capable of lifting all boats within the league, increasing visibility and revenue for everyone, they've often treated her like competition, like an unwanted rival. But actively competing with your own league's biggest draw, its most valuable asset, and even worse, tearing down her passionate, eager fans, that's not a strategic maneuver. That's not a show of strength. That's a catastrophic failure of vision, a self-inflicted wound that undermines the very foundation of their future prosperity. The resentment, born perhaps from years of struggle and limited recognition, is understandable on a human level, but it is fundamentally misdirected. It's not about Caitlyn Clark as a person. It's about what she represents, a paradigm shift, an unprecedented opportunity for growth and financial stability. My point is grow up. Who cares if you're Magic and Bird, already established legends? That didn't stop